Welcome to the updated Raiden Shogun guide where I'll go over her best weapons, talents level up, artifacts, teams, and everything you need to know about her in order to play her effectively. Since the rerun just came out, I think it's time that I give a bit of an update to my old video because honestly it kinda sucked. But now that I've been doing these for a while, I know exactly what to talk about and how to do them, so it should be way better, way more informative, so definitely a better guide overall. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more of you guys' time, let's hop right into the guide. First, let's go over her elemental skill. Think about this elemental skill as kind of like Xingqiu's burst, but instead of all the damage, it comes with way more utility. Cause like I said, every attack that you do will actually do a coordinated lightning strike to the opponent, so it's really good passive damage. And honestly, it generates a good amount of energy as well. But the main thing about it is that it will actually increase the elemental burst of the characters of your party, depending on how much their burst costs. And also activating the skill allows you to get chakra stacks for your Raiden Shogun, which I'll talk about in a little bit when I talk about the burst. So if you look at the scaling, it has a pretty good amount of skill damage, and then the coordinated attack damage is also pretty nice, and it actually lasts 25 seconds with only a 10-second cooldown, so you can have 100% uptime on this. And as you can see, it gives 0.3% more elemental damage bonus per energy of the character. For example, if I use this ability and I switch to Ling and use her burst, since her burst costs 80 energy, she'll get 24% more elemental burst damage. So that makes it really compatible with characters that have higher energy costs because they're going to get the most out of this burst. So make sure before you use any of the elemental bursts of your teammates or Raiden Shogun, pop the elemental skill because it will increase the damage of Raiden Shogun's burst herself and also the whole entire other team. And since this effect starts allowing you to get chakra stacks, you actually see a ring of electro energy behind your character, and that will show how many chakra stacks you actually have. Now her elemental burst is when she pulls out that giant sword and does crazy damage for 7 seconds on the field, and this does an absolute crazy amount of damage. Basically, you'll whip out your sword and all your normal, charge, and punching attacks will be infused with electro damage, and all those attacks will be counted as burst damage. That is really important to recognize because putting on artifacts or weapons that increase normal and charge attack damage will not affect the burst, so that's why it's really important to know that. And while she's attacking enemies, she can actually generate up to 5 electro particles throughout the whole entire burst, which is really nice for Raiden Shogun because she scales greatly off energy recharge, which I'll talk about in a little bit as well. Now here are when the stacks come in. When nearby party members besides Raiden Shogun use the burst, they will actually build up resolve stacks based on the energy cost of the burst. So if you use someone that has 40 energy cost, 60 energy cost, and 80 energy cost, the more energy cost they have, the more stacks you will get, and the little ring behind your character will actually glow up depending on the stacks you have. The maximum stacks you can have is 60. It says the resolve stacks will clear 300 seconds after Raiden leaves the field, but like, that's not really important. So this is huge damage, more energy, and just an overall amazing burst. Now if you look at the scaling, the first slash does a lot of damage, and as you can see, the burst has its own entire string of damage, and you can also see how much attack bonus you'll get per stack. At a crowned burst, you get 1.31% attack per stack. And you'll also get 0.2 stacks of energy consumed from your other teammates. You'll be in this state for 7 seconds, cooldown of 18 seconds. It does have an energy cost of 90, but trust me when I say it will not matter with Raiden Shogun. It's also worth a note that her passive allows you to get even more resolve stacks when nearby party members gain elemental particles. So that's really good at passively getting more stacks as well. And her second passive is what makes everything for Raiden's kit work. Every percent above 100%, she'll get more energy restoration from her burst, and she'll actually get 0.4% electro damage bonus. So you want to build a whole lot of energy recharge, and that's also why her 90 cost burst doesn't even really matter, because you're just going to have a lot of energy recharge anyway. You're going to get it so fast. So for talent priority, I'd probably say burst, skill, and then normal attack. You really won't be normal attacking on your Raiden all that too much because you're going to be switching to other characters, using the burst, building your stacks, and then doing a giant slash on your Raiden. And then of course you want to level up the burst because it's really good, does a lot of damage. And then the skill says passive damage and more elemental burst damage for your teammates. Now let's talk Constellations because her Constellations are all pretty good, but there's really one main one I want to talk about. Her first constellation is where if an electro character used their burst, Raiden will actually get more resolve stacks from that instead of a character that isn't electro. So that's pretty nice. Now here's the C2, which is the main one I want to talk about. Her burst will ignore 60% of defense and it's so strong. Now although this constellation is extremely good, I'm not trying to downplay this constellation at all, You do not need it. She is still S tier without the Constellation 2. Yes, she does get a huge damage bump after it, but she's been killing my account ever since I got her when she first came out, and she's still at C0, and I'm probably going to leave it that way because wishing for Constellations is scary. But she's still extremely good, so if you want to get this Constellation, it's definitely not a bad idea. But you also do not need it. Constellation 3 increases the scaling of her burst. After using her burst, all party members except Raiden Shogun will get their attack increased by 30% for 10 seconds, so that's also a pretty nice damage bump. Constellation 5 increases the scaling of her skill. Constellation 6 is while she's in a burst, Raiden Shogun can actually decrease the elemental burst cooldown of all characters in the party by up to 5 seconds. I've heard that this one's pretty alright, but it's not really worth the C6, so if you're trying to go for C6 Raiden Shogun, you probably don't want to. I've heard that kind of messes up some rotations, and also it's just not that worth it for a C6. And there you go, that's a quick rundown of the Constellations. Definitely the best one is C2. It's extremely good, extremely helpful, but you definitely do not need it unless you just want to go for that extra huge chunk more of damage, because she's still extremely good at C0. Alright, let's talk weapons. Let me just quickly go over the 5 stars. Engulfing Lightning and Staff of Homer are the 2 best in slot weapons for Raiden Shogun, because Staff of Homer is insanely good because of the crit damage substat and its attack bonus that it can give. And then Engulfing Lightning came out with Raiden Shogun as an energy recharge substat, which is extremely good for Raiden Shogun because it gives it even more electro damage bonus. You get more attack based on how much energy recharge you have over 100%, and you can get a maximum of 80%. And you get even more energy recharge for 12 seconds after using her burst as well, so it's really good. And then the next best option is probably Primordial Jade Spear because it increases attack and has a crit rate substat. And even Skyward Spine, which I know a lot of people haven't really tried out or used because it's kinda not that good. But it does have an energy recharge substat for Raiden Shogun, so it's not a bad idea. Vortex Vanquisher and Calamity Queller, they're alright, they're just not that needed to be honest. Okay, now let's talk about 4 stars, and you probably already know that the best 4 star is the Catch. Has a huge energy recharge substat, and it'll increase her burst damage and crit rate. This is definitely the best in slot 4 star weapon. Everyone can get this for free at any time at Refined 5, so it's extremely good. So if you haven't been fishing for that Catch, I recommend you do so if you want to get Raiden Shogun, because the Max Refined Catch is the best in slot 4 star. Deathmatch is also a pretty nice weapon because it has a crit rate substat, and it will increase the attack and defense of your Raiden Shogun depending on the enemies nearby, so it's not a bad idea to run this either. Blackcliff Pole is basically good like Deathmatch because it has another crit substat, and it will also increase attack if you kill an enemy, but that also means its passive is kinda unreliable because if it's like a boss then you won't get any attack bonuses at all throughout the entire fight. So that's why Blackcliff Pole is a little worse than the Deathmatch. Another great weapon if you have it is the Wavebreaker Spin. Although it doesn't have an energy recharge substat, you will have to kind of make up some energy recharge in your artifacts, but its passive actually fits in line with Raiden's kit. Basically, the burst will do more damage based on the number of consumed energy cost of all your party members. Because like we said with Raiden Shogun, if you pair up with higher energy cost characters, the burst will do more damage. So if you use this weapon, and use all those 80 cost characters, then in turn, this weapon will make your burst do a lot of damage as well. And I've heard that it's really good at Refined 5, so this isn't a bad idea either. Now if you don't have any of those options, they could always run the Favonius Lance because it has energy recharge substat, and it has some other particle generation as well. And if you're really that down bad, then you can use the Prototype Star Glitter because it has an energy recharge substat, and after you use a skill, it'll increase the normal and charge attack by 8%. Although you won't be normal and charge attacking on your Raiden that much, so it doesn't really matter to be honest. So this weapon is just if you're extremely fiending for something. So yeah, that's all for the weapons. The Catch is definitely the best 4 star, and they could do Deathmatch, and then depending on your Wavebreaker's Fin refinement, this could actually be extremely good as well. But if you don't have any of those, then you can use the Favonius Lance or Prototype Star Glitter. Now let's get into artifacts. The only artifacts that I can recommend on Raiden is 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate. If you don't have 4-piece Emblem, then you're definitely missing out on a lot of damage from your Raiden Shogun. She is highly dependent on having this set, and if you don't have this set on, then it kinda sucks for you. It gives her more energy recharge, and it'll give her increased burst damage based off of her energy recharge, and she already has a lot of it. That is why this one is extremely good, but if you don't have a 4-piece available, you could always run 2-piece Stoning Fury and 2-piece Noblesse, and then 2-piece Zoning of Fury, 2-piece Gladiators. Just any combination of 2-piece Zoning with the 2-piece of these other two are probably going to be good for you. It's just that I can't stress enough that 4-piece Emblem is what you need. Now for the main stats, you definitely want energy recharge because the more energy recharge the merrier. Electro damage bonus for the goblet, and then crit rate or crit damage depending on your ratio or what weapon you're using. And then for the substats, you want crit rate, crit damage, and then attack and then energy recharge because you should have enough by this time if you have the right weapon equipped, artifacts, or in the main style artifact. But if you don't have enough, you could always move energy recharge above attack percentage for the priority. And yeah, that's basically all you need to know about the artifacts. Try to get 4-piece Summon Messiah Fate, and if you can't, try to run 2-piece Thundering with a 2-piece Noblesse or Gladiators, and then basically just get the usual main DPS substats. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Now let's go into team building for Raiden Shogun. There's a lot of good characters you can pair up with your Raiden, like other Electro characters, 4-star characters, Viridescent Rare characters. So I'm not going to show you guys some of the best builds right now. But before I say anything, this is a huge disclaimer. Raiden's burst does not work with Beidou. You will get no conductive strikes from Raiden's burst at all, because for some reason Mihoyo has made the active decision to not let Beidou's burst work with Raiden Shogun's, even though Xingqiu's works and has the same exact wording. And Beidou would be a perfect kit for her because she's an electro character, and she has a high energy cost as well. Unfortunately, that's not the case, so all these teams will not contain Beidou. Like I said earlier, she pairs really well with other electro characters like Yae Miko, and Viridescent Rare sets for electro characters are extremely good, so that's why Sucos and Vitzi are here. And then of course Kazuha is really good as well, I just don't have him yet. And now you've probably seen this team everywhere. The Raiden National team with Xingqiu, Zhangling, Bennett is so good. It does a whole lot of damage, a whole lot of reactions. We're seeing some of the best supports in the entire game. And the rest of the characters are all 4-stars, so it's very free to play friendly and very accessible. Raiden feels really good as a main DPS and sub DPS because since her burst will be on cooldown and you won't really be normal attacking a lot, then you can use another character like for example a physical damage dealer like Rosaria or Eula. And then we have Lisa here because her burst does cost 80, which is really nice for Raiden Shogun, and she's another electro character, and her burst will actually decrease the defense of opponents. And then we have Diona here as a shielder, healer, and to fuel up your Eula or Rosaria. And then one more team I want to highlight is the Raiden Shogun Yae Miko team. You can also replace Sucos with Venti, Jean, Kazuha, because now we have two electro characters that will fuel up each other well. Yae Miko's burst costs 90, so that's actually really good for Raiden Shogun as well. We have Sucos here for the Viridescent, and then Bennett here for the buffing and healing. So there we go, those are all the teams I want to showcase for Raiden right now. Basically, all you need to know is that Viridescent is really good with her. You could also run in teams with a lot of electro characters like Yae Miko, Kaching, Lisa because of that high burst cost, Fischl, Kujo Sara. Oh yeah, speaking of Kujo Sara, I should have put her in one of the teams because she's also one of the best supports for Raiden if you have her at high Constellations. So since I forgot to show it off earlier, I'll show it off now. She's really good in physical teams because the coordinated attacks will cause the electro damage and superconduct. And then she has a lot of teams that are free to play friendly like Zhangling, Fischl, Xingqiu, Bennett, Sucros, Kujo Sara. Overall, she's just very amazing, very good at what she does. Now it's time to show you guys what my Raiden can do. I'm going to be using the Raiden National team because, you know, it's just super good. It's probably one of the most meta teams in the game right now, and it's just easily accessible. So once again, you want to use the elemental skill before you use anyone's burst to get the most damage increase you can get, and then you just basically just go crazy with everyone's burst, and then boink! Oh, look at that damage! And then I can just keep going hand with everyone else's bursts on the field while my Raiden. Oh. He died. And if you want to use my Raiden Shogun build, here it is. I have 1409 attack. I have a crit rate of 42.3% and a crit damage of 161.2 with an energy recharge of 270. The reason why my crit rate is pretty low is because I have the catch, because it'll give me another 12% crit rate on the burst, which is the only real thing I care about. So that 42% actually goes up to 54%. It honestly still could be a little bit more though. And then an electro damage of 114.8%. And once again, I got the R5 catch, artifact set of 4-piece Summon Beside Fate. If you want to pause and look at all these, you can. But honestly, they're not that great. I still have a long way to go. C0, and 6, 9, 10. And that's all for today's guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this video helped you out and now you know what weapons, artifacts, talents to level up, and constellations, and everything you need to know about Raiden. She's extremely good and worth it even after all this time. She's still one of the best DPS characters of the game. She has tons of good teams to be used on. She uses one of the best artifact sets in the entire game. And she's just really cool looking and fun. So yeah, that's basically all for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna go grind some more artifacts because these artifacts aren't that good.